Okay, so yes, people were talking about other people saying, well, you need to forgive. And yes, Alexandra was saying, I don't believe in God, but I have some spiritual views. It's crazy how fast my narcissist took on my spiritual concepts just to use them against me. Yes, they do. And Doug, that is really well said. Doug says, as far as forgiveness goes, he says, forgiveness doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it prevents their bad behavior from destroying your heart. So I'm going to freeze the chat here because I want to talk a little bit about forgiveness because it's another one of those terms. Because all it's these concepts, all of them, all of these concepts that are found in like normal life make sense in normal life. But when you see them through the lens of an abusive relationship, when you're seeing them through the lens of manipulation, it's like looking at something underwater. Like it's not really clear. Like you can kind of see it, but it's very skewed. It's a lot like that with an abusive relationship, but there's a lot on the line. So like it's dangerous to not be seeing things clearly. So the concepts of, you know, like everything, forgiveness and love and trust and commitment and, you know, family and a lot of these, you know, faith in God, a lot of these things just get so twisted and tangled up and turned around and of course spun around and then used against a person that I think it's really important for us to try to untangle this as much as possible so we can see the manipulation for what it is. Because really all successful manipulative behavior, it's got to be effective. Like it's got to work. And the reason manipulative behavior and lies work is because there's oftentimes like a kernel of truth to it, but it's surrounded by a big ball of a lie. So what we're talking about, forgiveness. So the saying, you know, it's important to forgive and forget. Well, first off, you're never going to forget. That's ridiculous. Nobody's ever going to forget anything that's ever been done to them. Like that just doesn't, you know, it's called denial. Like if you forget something that's really traumatic that's happened, like you're repressing it, you're denying it. You don't forget it. So that's problematic, A. And then B, forgiveness does not equate to allowance. So I am not a fan of the word forgiveness because I think it is so misused, misapplied, misunderstood that it keeps a lot of people stuck in anger and pain and hurt unnecessarily. And not only that, but I think it also gets people stuck in toxic situations because that word is so easy. It's so thrown around and misused that it's easy to manipulate and twist. So forgiveness does not mean that you are okay with what happened to you. Forgiveness means that you're choosing to release the anger that you have about what happened to you. So there's like, it means a totally different thing, right? So I think when you look at it that way, of forgiveness is about, so when people say, I don't forgive them because they deserve it, I forgive them because I deserve it, that's really what they're talking about. They're talking about I'm making the conscious decision to release the anger that I have towards this person so it doesn't ruin my life. Because probably if you've heard the saying, anger is like a hot coal that, you know, we pick up, that we want to throw at somebody else, but the reality is that we're the ones that end up getting burned. But even with that said, even though we're saying, okay, well, forgiveness is about releasing anger towards another person, that doesn't mean that it's easy. And there's a whole process to kind of, I think, moving forward in forgiveness, because like one of the gals in my support group had mentioned, Nan, she had mentioned that anger and rage is a stage in healing and it should be respected. And I just love that, because that is very, very right on. And it's appropriate and normal and understandable to be angry, to be really, really, really angry. And that takes time. It takes time to kind of let that, to work through that stage. So there would be something wrong with you if you weren't really outraged by what happened. You know, I think for me, kind of for what it's worth, and I mean, there are times where, you know, I still get angry. Nothing like how I was a few years ago, but it's more of, I think what helped me was realizing I got tangled up with some people that were just really messed up people. They had some just like major, major issues. And I didn't realize that. I just didn't realize that. I took everything at face value and I was manipulated and I just got tangled up in this nonsense, in their nonsense and in their abuse and all of it, all of everything that I went through. Like that was, I didn't know. I didn't know what I was getting into. And, you know, so I guess just for me kind of making peace with that, like I did the best I could with the information that I had. It wasn't personal. Even though I was targeted, it still wasn't personal. That's what these people do. They're majorly messed up people and they just go around. This is who they are. Like this is their personality. You know, they just really disturbed people. And so they're going to bring that level of disruption and dysfunction with them wherever they go because it's who they are. So I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I got tangled up with somebody, you know, some problematic people. I think realizing that it wasn't personal helped a lot. And I think trying to squeeze out as much as I possibly could from that and use it towards my highest and greatest good helped a lot because it gave my pain a purpose. And then, you know, using what happened to me towards not only my highest and greatest good, but for the highest and greatest good of other people that are going through that. That's, I think, when it really helped my healing, because then it really helped to just do this outreach and to find my voice back and to reclaim my power and control. So I think for people that are struggling with that, with how do I let go of this anger? You know, I guess realize that anger is a part of it, and you know, hopefully that's a stage that you can move through. And you can, here's something else too with the anger. I think a lot of people get stuck in anger, and anger can be like quicksand, where it's easy to get stuck in it for decades and have a hard time getting out of it. And so it's kind of this feeling of, well, if I let go of this, then that somehow means that I'm okay with what happened, or that I'm not holding them accountable. And that's not the case at all. You can still be angry and upset with them without, and still be like, I don't want anything to do with this person, and this person's dangerous and destructive. I'm going to stay away from them, and not have that anger festering within you. Lots of love to you guys. You are not alone. You are not crazy, and you really can move forward and heal from this.